afternoon to every single one of you, New Dimension family, and everyone who is streaming live today. We're truly excited to have you with us, and we look forward to an insightful and truly fun-filled conversation here this afternoon. So today with me, we have Brian Temba, who is joining us, and we're truly excited. So thank you so much for taking the time to have this conversation with us. We look forward to hearing what you are about to share with us, which I believe is about to be revolutionary. So thank you so much, and welcome to you, Brian.
Thank you for having me, and to whoever who's watching, hello, hi, but thank you for having me. I have so much to say, but I'll let you lead this ship.
All right, awesome. So let's just jump straight into it, right? So we all know that you are a phenomenal singer, you are a songwriter, you've produced a couple of things as well. But the heart of it today, we just want to know, what is it that made you discover your singing? So how did you discover your singing talent?
It's a very good question, because most of us will come and say, I discovered that I could sing it, in church,
Right.
But when you have a gift of music, when you're called to do music, the difference is that you actually start with it from childhood. You actually start with it from not birth, but the minute you start hearing music and you fall in love with it. It can be at 3 years, at 4 years, at 5 years, or whatever. But when you start hearing music, that's, especially when you're gifted with music, then you start wanting to do it. Every time people will see you singing and they say, hey, we have like, because at the time, we never really paid attention to the industry. We didn't know about the industry. It was in the 90s, and our parents, when you literally spoke to them about the industry and you told them you wanted to sing, they're like, what are you doing? You can't go and sing.
Yeah.
You don't know anything about that industry. So we just want you to be a doctor. We just want you to be a lawyer. We just want to be an engineer. And that's all they wanted to do. So as far as the arts are concerned, they never encouraged all of that. So I've been singing for the longest time. Even in high school, I remember before I was born again, I was singing. I was singing all the time. But I will safely say that the first time that I sang in front of an audience was at a wedding. But it was driven by my pastor heard that I could sing. So he gave me an assignment and said to me, Uyotula in 3 weeks, so you need to practice. I don't care how you practice, but you're going to be leading worship in 3 weeks. So I had to push myself to sing. Luckily, a friend was getting married and they said, yeah, come and sing at the wedding. And that's when I started singing. The first song I don't really remember because the nerves were just ridiculously crazy. But the second song was better. And then I started singing in church.
Okay. So eventually it came back to church.
Yes, it does always come back to church, because I believe that's the best training ground. I was part of Joy Celebration. That was the best training ground. So church is, and it builds people, not only spiritually, but even with our crafts as well. It built me. I can safely say that.
That's pretty awesome. So I do want to ask you then, you've spoken about, your journey towards realizing and moving into just being able to sing in just the music industry. But I also just want to know, so what was the inspiration behind all of that? So if there was a particular person or if there was an idea which inspired you, because you said that you started off when you were young and it was something that you just somewhat grew into, right? But is there a particular inspiration or someone who inspired you to continue with it?
Look, first of all, I didn't think that I could make music or singing a career into a career. That's the first thing. But when I got into it, when I started singing in church, one of the church elders used to buy me cassettes. We used to play cassettes at the time. And he used to buy me commissioned Fred Hammond, John P. Key, And I used to listen to those guys and they would inspire me every time. But there would be a place of worship for me and praise, you know, when I'm at home. But when I started, I first saw Family Factory in 1997. Family Factory is a group that I used to be with. It's a group that started Joyous Celebration. You know, it was Family Factory first, and then came Joyous Celebration. They had come to our church, and I saw these guys singing, and I thought, angels have come to our church to sing. They
Wow.
sounded so beautiful, and I was so mesmerized by them. And I inquired a little bit more, and I realized that these guys are getting paid to actually sing. And I was like, what, really? And at that time I was singing and everybody knew I could sing. And I was like, okay, this is what I want. This is the career that I want. This is what I want. So Family Factory inspired me greatly, greatly. Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's fantastic. So we know that you once played Jesus in a play, and we just want to know, so how did that make you feel, and how do you resonate with that character being who you are right now?
Oh man, that was like too big of shoes to fill, man, for real.
Yeah.
Playing Jesus.
Pressure.
Look, it was beautiful. It was enlightening. It was something. Sometimes you read the Bible and you just go past, you know. But I think if either of us had to live in Jesus's shoes, we'd really understand what he went through and why he went through it.
Right.
You know, so you start reflecting and you start seeing these things, and then when you're acting there and you're like, wow, this is deeper than what I thought. You start having revelations of things that, you know, he was saying and all of that. It was a big role. For me, it was a big role. I know some people might think that it was light, it was, you know, but for me, it was huge because you're playing Jesus. And the cast started calling me Jesus everywhere I went. So, so you can imagine the pressure. But it was amazing. It was absolutely
That's
amazing.
wonderful.
To live a holy life.
Yeah, you have to.
I think that's just wonderful, because if they call you Jesus, it simply becomes one of those self-fulfilling prophecies where eventually you're just going to be like Jesus. So that's wonderful.
And I constantly had to say, yes, my child. Yes, my child. My son. Yes. You know?
Right.
And I don't think Jesus was that serious, actually.
I have to agree with that. So I do also just want to ask you, how did you discover the love of God? So how did your journey to finding Christ begin?
It was the weirdest thing. This was in 1995. But 1994, really, when there was a cousin, a family friend of mine. So, but, you know, I called him my cousin because we were that close. Our families were that close. And he was the hot boy in town, you know, in Pretoria at the time. And we were in the same clique and, you know, going to parties together in 1994, and we did things together and all of that, you know. 1995, I'm walking with my mom in town. Now this guy is coming. He looks good. Like, he's suited up. He's looking good, man. I'm like, yo, what's going on, man? Are you good? He's like, yeah, man, I'm good. And he's like, you know what? I want to invite you to church. I'm like, huh? What?
Okay.
You want to invite me to church? Come on, man, don't play. You know, it was that kind of conversation. Come on, don't play. But now I was with my mom. Everybody knows that my mom is very close to my heart, you know? And obviously every mom wants the best for their child, you know? And my mom said, Ngela Uye, can you just please go, just one day, just go and see how it is. I didn't want to disappoint her, but that's not where I wanted to go. They had a cell group and they invited us, and I was like, yeah, whatever. Okay, Shap, I'll go. I went to a cell group. I cannot explain the feeling of what happened that day. Something changed. There was something different. There was something in the atmosphere. I couldn't sit still. I was just bouncing. You know, I was like, what is going on? I couldn't understand this feeling. But it was an amazing feeling. It was something that I wanted continuously, and I wanted to stay in that environment, in that presence, you know. And yeah, from that day on, I accepted God as my Lord and Savior.
That's absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
I just love how God is able to take us from wherever we are in life and somehow bring us back to Himself, so that we can hear and experience the love of God. And
Yes,
speaking
definitely.
about the love of God, I just want to ask you then about the journey to this wonderful single that you have. How did that come about?
You see that? So I'm friends with Unhlanhla. Unhlanhla Silaule, he's the managing director of Favor NT Music, and we've known each other since 1996. You know, we were singing around Esoshanguve together and all of those things. So we've known each other for a while. So time and again, he would come back into my life, you know, one way or another, but it would be through music. So he called me, you know, a while back, and he said to me, this is after, like, probably we were on level 2, you know, of lockdown. And he said to me, Brian, I have a song for you. I said, you have a song for me? Okay, cool. I have a song for you and I need you to hear it. He sent me the song and I'm like, I swear to you, it would be something that I would create. It would be something that I would do in studio. So he had done music no Pendulo, and it's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful song featuring Motlabi. And I said, bro, like, you are sending me a song as if I produced the song. It sounds very much
Sure.
like Brian Temba,
Wow.
and no one can sing the song but Brian Temba. So
Sure.
for me, it made a lot of sense because I related to it. And the message as well is something that I always preach. It's about love. It's about, you cannot love God, or you cannot say you love God and don't love your neighbor and don't
Right.
love the person that you're seeing physically. We are people of faith, you know, and we love God so much, but you can't say that you love him and you don't love the next person next to you.
Sure.
So for me, that's always what I've been preaching. That's always what I've been preaching, what I've been talking about. It's all about love. You have to respect the next person. It doesn't matter who they are. It doesn't matter what
Right.
standard they are in. You have to respect them and you have to love them, you know? And I've been preaching that for the longest time. And now Nhlanhla brings me a song that is just plain message that I've been talking about. So for
Sure.
me, it literally just made sense, and it just fit. It was God ordained, basically.
That's just amazing how uh, it just came to be. We appreciate how God is the orchestrator of everything that happens in our lives. I see it with precision in what you have just shared with us. So I do know that we have just celebrated the month of Heritage Day, and I just want to know, what does that mean to you? So what does heritage mean specifically just to you?
It means, look, heritage for me means just being African, you know, and not forgetting that I am African. And
Right.
also remembering where I come from, remembering my heritage, remembering who I am as an African. And I feel
Right.
that the minute we get into the faith of God, or in the presence, or we get born again and stuff like that, we start shutting off our Africanism. We start shutting off who we are as Africans. And
Okay.
that's very dangerous, you know? And sometimes we don't want to talk about it because we're like, no, we can't engage in that. No, 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 you know? Whereas there's so much beauty in Africa. There's so much beauty about us that we need
Absolutely.
to visit, that we need to talk about more, that our children need to grow up knowing who they are as Africans. That's very important.
Sure, that's wonderful. So, when you speak about what Africa means, it means to you that heritage means that I am not separated from who I actually am, or I'm not separated from where I was born, right?
Yes.
So, yeah, that's That's wonderful. I also just want to know then, with this whole concept, you know, of what Africa means to you, what heritage means to you, what do you think is a lesson that you have learned in the space of 2020, something which was meaningful to you, similar to what you're saying, what heritage is meaningful to you? What is something that you didn't expect to learn about 2020, about the meaning of life?
Gosh, you see now, like everything is coming because there's so much that you learn when when you're in prison. Basically, that's where we were. We were in prison, so there's so much that you go through. There's so much that you realize. There's one thing that stands out is that we are artists in this music industry.
Right.
And there's so much in the entertainment industry, particularly. There's so much that's been going on with us, not being able to provide, not being able to get money in, not being able to work, and all of those things. And you start seeing the value of family, the value of speaking to people, the value of connecting with. I connected with my wife, I connected with my child more. Those things you can't take away. You can't take away, whether there's money or there's no money. Those moments are very important. And how much I missed my mom, how much I missed my dad, how much I missed my family generally, my sister. When I went to them and had the opportunity to go see them, it was amazing. It was amazing. And I understand now that I have to value everything that I have, everything that I am, and I have to be grateful and thankful that even through a period like that, I had food. Even through a period like that, I had shelter. I could do, there were things that I could do, that I could have, that probably other people could not even have. You know what I'm saying? So for me, I learned to appreciate what God has given me more than I did before.
Wow, that's wonderful. I think earlier on you spoke a little bit about how it was challenged, to be in this particular field when we went through the pandemic. And I also just want to then ask you, speaking particular with your current manager, why is it that you decided to work with them? And, what is it that set apart their organization to you from those of other people? So would you tell us about that?
I always say that if you're an artist, be an artist.
Okay.
Find somebody who is good at what they do in terms of management, PR, and other things.
Right.
With Nhlanhla is good with management and PR and organizing things. And for me, he surprised me because this particular song was the first time we actually worked together as artist and manager. And this guy calls me in a week. We meet up on Tuesday. He comes. I record the song in studio. In the weekend, we do a photo shoot. The next weekend, the promo is out for the song. Then the next weekend, we're shooting a music video. I'm like, what? I've never, as an artist, I've never worked with somebody like that who just does things quick, and who's not procrastinating, because we procrastinate a lot. And as an artist, I would advise artists, ungazami ukuba manager, ungazami ukuba PR agent or anything, just be an artist. My strong points are here in this studio. I would do a song in minutes. It's easy for me, but I need somebody else to take this product that I have and this image and put it out there to the world. And Nhlanhla knows how to do that. For me, that's all. That's all.
That's brilliant. It's so cool when you're able to collaborate with people or just work with people who you guys complement each other and there's no strife behind it. So that is pretty awesome. So you just already started speaking into my next question. So I just want to ask, when you're speaking about you want to give advice to other artists, to just be artists. I also just then want to ask you, what advice would you give to people who are just young and who are waiting on God, for a breakthrough, whether it be in their career, in relationships, in finances, whatever it may be? What advice would you give to them now that you've already spoken to the artists?
I'm going to ask you one question. Why wait for God?
Why are we waiting on God? Because maybe you want his authorization?
No. You see, this is the thing. God has given you, I sat here most of my times in the studio before I even had the studio. I sat here and I was like, but God, why am I not getting bookings? Why am I not getting jobs? Why am I not doing this? It was as clear as day, as if God was saying to me, but you have the resources. Why do you need somebody else to make your dreams come true when I've given you resources? You see, so our problem is that we wait. Do, I've given you gifts. Do what you need to do. Work. You have gifts. Dude, you have resources. Why wait? Unkulunkulu says, work and I'll open doors for you.
Wow, okay. The question, you can't. But I get that makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so just do it and God will go before you and help you.
But God has got you for the fact that you have the opportunity and the gift to do it. He says, do it. Don't stop. Do it. Sure. Like I say, if me being in the studio, I need to work as hard as I can. He will bring people like Abontanka to actually be the vehicle to get the music to where it needs to go. But if I'm sitting here and saying, it's because when I've given you resources,
Sure.
So young people, young people need to claim it. We need to claim what we've been given. The thing is, that's the problem, and that's the sad thing about it, is that we wait on God when God has given it to us already.
Sure.
We have been given, for the fact that you can eat, for the fact that we are that, He's providing for you already. So why sit and do nothing? God will catch up, will make ways and will open doors for you while you have started. But in faith without works is dead.
I know that completely makes sense. I think, sometimes you just feel like there is a way to do things, and sometimes what we perceive to be truth isn't really, like when we think that Nkulunkulu is waiting on God, and God is actually just saying to us, you have it already. It's within your capacity to do it. So that is absolutely wonderful. Thank you so much for helping even me understand a little bit more of that.
It's a pleasure.
So we just want to know, what can we look forward then to? Are there any events that you maybe are planning, maybe virtually, or now that we're moving into lockdown level 1, now that we've actually already moved into it, what else can we look forward to?
At the moment, we've released the single, the love song right now. And a lot of people know that as much as I'm in the gospel industry, I'm also an R&B artist. And I've been very active in that space as well, and working on an EP that's going to be released hopefully in October, end of October. But since I've started with Untlanka, we are also working on a gospel album, Okay. I'm not going to give you a date, but it's coming and it's going to be amazing. So there's a lot of projects that Brian Temba is doing at the moment. The live shows are coming as well. They're coming as well, because we are trying to, sometimes as artists, and this is what I've learned, is that we want to just do things, we want to just do things and whatnot without planning. And I find that, especially when you have a team, especially when you have people that you're working with, it's better to plan and do things accordingly, you know, with order, and so that everything that's executed and everything that's done, it's done precisely and properly, you know. And I've learned about quality as well. You know, when you are in our industry, quality is everything. You know, quality of pictures, quality of videos, quality of everything. We are in the entertainment industry, whether it be gospel, whether it be secular music. We are in the entertainment industry, and we have to be presentable. We have to know our business as musicians, you know. So there are a lot of things. I can't tell you now that I'm having a show next week. No, there are a lot of things that we're working on, but we want them controlled. We want them done properly, because now things have changed.
Yes.
Things are not, you can't just go perform live somewhere or whatever. Things are virtual now. Things are internet. So we've had to change with the industry. We've had to adapt to the new situation right now.
Right.
So I would say that if people want to know or want to find out about what I'm doing, there's my social media, which is Brian Temba, everywhere, Brian Temba. Brian Temba without the H, Temba.
All right, that's perfect. You know what, Brian, we thank you so much for your time. We appreciate it. And I believe that we have learned so much. If you have not learned anything today, watch it again. I'm sure you will find something which was meaningful and really extraordinary. Thank you so much for taking the time to come and sit with us here at New Dimension Magazine and have this conversation. We appreciate it, and we truly look forward to hearing and replaying on our, you know, in our time, the love of God, and constantly just keeping on hearing what is God doing in your life. So siyabonga kakhulu, and we appreciate it.
No, kubonga mina, and everyone that's watching, thank you so much for watching. And I hope that every time we have conversations like these, people get something out of it and they get built, you know, because that's the purpose. We have to build each other. So thank you again for having me on this platform.
Absolutely. Well, thank you very much again, New Dimension family. We will see you definitely continuing with the conversations each and every Sunday. Make sure that you tune in, and we will see you on the flip side.